and it's our biggest one yet. It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4, and this time it features all new rendering, lighting, and landscape technology. It allows us to have 16 times the detail and even view distant weather systems across the map. I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs. All of this just works. I'm not kidding. That mountain is not just a backdrop. You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain. As a matter of fact, you'll never even see a server when you play.
As of last week, we're over 200 endings. That is not an exaggeration.
It works. It actually works perfectly. Our new rating AI system. It allows NPCs to have full 24/7 schedules. These NPCs are not scripted.
We have over 40,000 lines of recorded dialogue.
Of course you can play this solo. Starfield. It's easily our most ambitious game ever. Like our previous games, it's an epic role-playing game where you get to be who you want and go where you want. And that starts with character creation. It's our most flexible yet. You can customize all the elements of how you look, from barren but resource-heavy ice balls to Goldilocks planets with life. And not just this system, but over 100 systems. Over 1,000 planets, all open for you to explore.
If you don't shut your fucking mouth, I will kill you.
You know, considering how hilariously terrible Bethesda's track record in terms of merely not lying to their customers has been over the past decade, you would think that people would be extremely cautious of any of their marketing, specifically what Todd Howard says about their upcoming game Starfield, especially when, as you just saw, there are clear lines they repeat almost every single time they release a game, and they do it almost word for word each time. However, Xbox and Bethesda fanboys, just like Sony ponies, simply refuse to ever even consider the fact that at the very least Starfield may not actually be as advertised, since what Todd Howard is saying in regards to the game seems to directly contradict the message of their adverts, which blatantly mimic No Man's Sky to an undeniable degree. And if anyone wants a more in-depth look at my thoughts on the Starfield reveal as a whole, then go watch my last video on the topic before coming back to this one. In it, I also talk about how misleading Bethesda is being with their marketing, and even simply saying on Twitter that my next video is probably gonna piss a lot of people off. I do not think Starfield looks like a good game. You have to remember, trailers are hand-selected slices of footage which are meant to show the product in its best form, and Starfield looks rough to say the very least. Will result in exactly what I predicted. Bethesda fanboys coping and seething at the mere idea of someone not being hyped for another Bethesda title. You don't even have to say the game looks bad. Stating a literal fact about how what we were shown was insanely rough triggers them, because God forbid anyone ever questions God Howard. And unfortunately, that tweet single-handedly caused someone who I respected, to an extent, poorly attempting to call me out. Don't know if you're qualified to judge games. You did champion Back 4 Blood as better than Left 4 Dead 2 in every conceivable metric. It speaks volumes when the only way people are managing to defend Starfield looking as rough as it does is via non-arguments. I don't remember saying that about Back 4 Blood, and regardless, it is completely irrelevant to the topic at hand. But thanks for proving what I said would happen. It's a Todd Howard game. I don't know what you're expecting. They always look rough. Your ability to judge games isn't what you think it is if you expected more from a Todd Howard game. This is a guy who criticizes PS5 fanboys for bending over and accepting anything Sony hands them. Might want to keep that same energy for Starfield. A bad track record isn't an excuse to continue said bad track record. It should be a reason to criticize them and hope for improvement. If the guy has proven anything here, it's not that I'm the one with the problem when it comes to criticizing games.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy
Fanboys.
not join them! Bring balance to the force, not leave it in darkness!
And I absolutely do stand by what I said in those tweets, 100%. I don't think Starfield will be a good game, I think it will be mediocre, because nothing they've shown off has been remotely impressive outside of the limited showcase of shipbuilding, and Bethesda hasn't put out anything above what I'd consider alright in the past decade. The fact that Cheems is being a complete Bethesda fanboy here is definitely disappointing to see, since I do usually enjoy the guy's videos calling out PlayStation fanboys, and as briefly touched upon in my response to the guy, nothing he tended to bring up was even relevant to the topic at hand, trying to attack my credibility because I don't think Starfield will be the best game of this generation is totally pathetic, and just proves how rough the game looked during its reveal, when all the arguments you are making in order to poorly defend a multi-billion-dollar company from criticism is either saying bend over and accept everything given to you, no matter the product's quality, or making things up about what I've apparently said. That says enough about the product you're willing to spend your money on. It also reminds me of the exact type of people you like to call out yourself, Cheems. You should have ways to defend the game other than attacking someone's credibility, because there should be something redeemable about the game that you can point out, like I can do, in regards to the shipbuilding and general customization Bethesda showed off. If that's how it is in the game, it will be a great side to it. But you weren't able to do that. Instead, you turned to having an over-emotional reaction on Twitter to me simply stating that I don't personally think it's going to be a good video game. And to be fair, the reaction is, to say the very least, preemptive, considering the fact my video hadn't even been released yet. And it's what separates fanboys from just fans of a game. Fanboys can't see anything wrong with it and they'll defend a company no matter what. Fans just like the product and can see the flaws with it. But nevertheless, don't you guys worry, Cheems wasn't the only person triggered by me stating the obvious about Starfield. Bethesda fanboys came out in full force to defend their favourite content creators and their favourite corporations, even before my video was released. Perfectly showcased by The Wall, making a video full of assumptions about my criticisms of Starfield since my video hadn't come out yet, via claiming I had a tantrum over Cheems responding to me.
But today we're talking about him in a negative way because he is absolutely throwing a tantrum on Twitter today about Starfield and the gameplay that it showed the other day at the Xbox Game Show. And that is absolutely hilarious to me, that he is throwing a tantrum over a gameplay trailer.
In fairness to The Wall here, if me responding to people on Twitter in what I describe as a respectable manner to discuss the topic of Starfield and how rough the game looked is considered throwing a tantrum, then I full-heartedly agree I was throwing a tantrum. Because remember guys, if you ever doubt what Todd Howard says, you're a child having a tantrum.
I'm gonna show you some of these tweets on screen here now. So he starts it off pretty calm, he just says, my next video is probably gonna get a lot of people off. I do not think Starfield looks like a good game. And that's a completely valid opinion to have. Like honestly, I'm probably not gonna get Starfield because it's not really my type of game. Maybe I don't know, I'll wait and see what the reviews are. But then he goes on to say, you have to remember trailers are hand-selected slices of footage which are meant to show the product in its very best form, and Starfield looks rough to say the very least. Now I have to disagree with this. Now if he's talking about performance like FPS, then yeah, maybe there's a little bit of hiccups here and there, like the trailer didn't look exactly like the best FPS, but I'm on PC so I don't give a crap about that, like honestly, like that doesn't affect me.
I hope to God that's a joke, but if it isn't, I hate to break it to you, but PC games need optimization as well. If there are performance and optimization issues at launch, then that of course affects you as well. PC hardware doesn't mean you're invulnerable to performance issues. I don't even know how you fucking come to that conclusion. I have an RTX 3070 and a Ryzen 9 5900X, and I run into performance issues in games like Halo Infinite and Battlefield 2042, because those games have not been well optimized. And I find it utterly hilarious that this guy has to guess what I'm talking about when it comes to the roughness of Starfield's gameplay reveal, because he's making a video on my take on Starfield before my take on Starfield has been properly released. I don't give a shit about the performance issues shown in Starfield's gameplay reveal. The game's a year out, and typically within the gaming industry, during game development, the optimization stage is around 3 to 6 months before the game comes out. If we're seeing performance issues merely months away from launch in trailers, that's when it's becoming a problem. My advice to The Wall here is to maybe, just maybe, wait until someone's video that they're referencing in the tweet about Starfield looking rough is out before you start commenting on their take, because the reason you're having to guess as to what I'm talking about here is because you preemptively made the video in response to my take when my take wasn't actually put out yet. And as seen in my Starfield video, I blatantly say that I don't currently care about about the FPS issues shown in Starfield's gameplay reveal. However, people should not be expecting the game to run above 30 FPS on the Series X, and especially the Series S.
But if he's talking about the gameplay, then I don't quite understand what he's talking about, because the gameplay looks exactly like Fallout 4.
I wonder what happened here yet again. As said in my Starfield video, I'd love it if Starfield had Fallout 4's gameplay but better, which it looks like it will. I do not dislike Fallout 4's gameplay, and again, if you waited for my video to actually release, you'd know that and you wouldn't have been making stupid assumptions throughout your video. And even if you didn't bother to wait to see my video, I think my reply to Sean W in and of itself showcases my feelings about Starfield having Fallout 4's gameplay. But regardless of everything, I'm going to skip some portions of this video because there's nothing of value to talk about for the most part, outside of a few clips.
So then this guy's reply basically saying he doesn't know if he's qualified to judge games, considering he said Back 4 Blood was better than Left 4 Dead 2, which is kinda one of the worst takes you could ever have, honestly. I don't know if he actually said this or not, but you know, he didn't deny saying this, so all he said was he doesn't remember saying anything like that, and says regardless it's irrelevant to the topic at hand, but it really isn't. He's calling you out for being a poor judge of games while you're judging a game. Like, it's completely irrelevant to the situation.
The reasoning behind me saying I don't remember saying that, there's no way in hell I can remember everything I say on Discord, everything I say on Twitter, and everything I say on YouTube. So instead of just saying nah, I never said that, I just say I don't remember that. It's essentially the same thing. This way I avoid accidentally lying to my viewers, which I don't want to do in any scenario. And even when I'm basically asking him to show the receipts, he was unable to provide them. I'm 99% sure I never said that after Back 4 Blood came out, because beforehand, lots of people were definitely claiming it would be better than Left 4 Dead 2. But afterwards, I don't think anyone was trying to deny the fact that Back 4 Blood is objectively worse in most cases. But either way, yes, it is completely fucking irrelevant to the topic at hand, because 9 out of 10 times, the only times people ever bring up quote-unquote bad takes of the past that don't exist in this scenario, they're only doing it to quote-unquote discredit you because they can't actually rebuke what you are saying. Instead of actually making rebuttals to what you're talking about, they'll bring up some random bullshit they think you had a bad take on. And again, no, I don't think fucking Back 4 Blood is any better than Left 4 Dead 2. It's an objectively worse game in terms of the technical side of it. In terms of gameplay, it is objectively better. What Cheems was doing was saying, this apple is the same as this orange because they're both round. You're comparing two takes on video games, one that you think is good and one that you think is bad, and then going, oh yeah, you can't have a good one because you had a bad one in the past. Which is why it's completely irrelevant to the topic at hand. A supposed take you had on a game in the past which was bad doesn't mean that you can't change your opinion on a video game, and it sure as hell doesn't mean that you can't ever have a good take on a video game in the future. Just like having some good takes doesn't mean you can't have bad takes.
Now here's where things get really good. So this guy says it's a Todd Howard game. I don't know what you're expecting. They always look rough. Your ability to judge games isn't what you think it is if you expected more from a Todd Howard game. I'm not saying this take is good or not, because I think we should always expect games to come out good. I don't think we should give any like special treatments to certain developers. Now yes, Todd Howard has been known to not have the best games on release, but no one cares because it's not so bad to where the game isn't enjoyable.
Does this guy even know a single ounce of information in regards to the topic we're talking about? This is fucking Bethesda. They are known for buggy and near unplayable games at launch. It's why they're often referred to as Bugthesda. Like, how on earth do you not know about Fallout 76, my guy? That was one of the biggest controversies in the last decade when it comes to gaming. And no, a game being playable at launch doesn't mean you should accept what you're handed. You've got to love the constant contradictions in what this guy is saying here. He's not saying Cheems' take is good, but he'll reiterate what Cheems is saying in another way. You're absolutely giving Bethesda special treatment if you allow them to release unfinished and buggy games, but not EA. And I'm almost certain that you wouldn't support the way EA releases 99% of their games. Also, something being enjoyable isn't an actual defense of a video game. I'm able to find at least some small amount of enjoyment via here playing League of Maidens with my friends because I can mock the game for how bad it is. That doesn't make it a good video game, and that doesn't mean people should support it. Battlefield 2042 is a game that some people enjoy. It doesn't make it a good game, and it doesn't make something people should support. This weird idea that enjoyment equals a good game and something you should support is baffling to me. It's so entirely one-dimensional that I simply can't comprehend how anyone could have that take. And it's so strange to me that when Bethesda releases games in similar states to EA, it's completely okay to these people, but when EA does it, it's suddenly bad. It should be bad for both companies to be doing this, especially when Bethesda has a long history of blatantly lying to their consumers.
And then Mischief, responds saying, this guy who criticizes PS5 fanboys for bending over and accepting anything Sony hands them might want to keep that same energy for Starfield. A bad track record isn't an excuse to continue said bad track record. It should be a reason to criticize them and hope for improvement. Now that is not a bad take. I actually do agree with that.
Everything you've just said for about the last minute, including some of the clips that I cut out because it's just you repeating yourself, states the complete opposite of what you just said. You've literally just been saying that as long as the game is enjoyable when it comes out, then there's no reason to care about the game being a buggy mess when it launches or being in a rough state. And now you're saying that you agree with me. Make up your mind. I don't know if you can't make up your mind because of poor editing or just because you're trying to defend Bethesda here in a blind manner.
But the fact that, he's saying that we should just expect the game to be like that is not really okay, and I do think we should criticize it, but at the same time, you can't say that the game looking rough means the game's gonna be terrible and that you shouldn't get it, because Bethesda has proven time and time again that just because a game looks rough doesn't mean it is gonna be a bad game.
You very clearly have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to Bethesda, because they have proven time and time again that they will lie about absolutely anything in regards to video games they produce, and that they are not trustable. Their lying goes all the way back to Oblivion, where they overhyped AI and claimed it wasn't scripted, even though it blatantly was. And although that doesn't make a quote-unquote bad game, I have never claimed that. Even in my initial tweet, I wasn't saying that the game was going to be bad, and anyone with 2 functioning brain cells could have figured that out. I was merely saying that it wasn't going to be a good game. Bethesda games for the past decade have not been good. They have been passable. Months after launch, when they finally addressed a few of the bugs that should have never existed at launch. Although if we're being real here, they never ever fix all the bugs in their games, and they remain buggy for years upon years, if not their entire lifespan. I mean, Jesus Christ, it took Bethesda roughly a decade to fix game-breaking issues in regards to Fallout 3 being completely unplayable on Steam, because of game-breaking issues that the community had to fix for them via incredibly difficult workarounds that were never guaranteed to work, until they decided a decade later to fix it. And the most egregious part is that they fixed it by removing something as simple as Windows Live from the PC version.
And he's really salty at this point. Mischief is very upset that people are calling him out and disagreeing with him. He goes, if the guy has proven anything here, it's that I'm not the one with a problem when it comes to criticizing games.
That isn't me being salty, that's me being my typical asshole self and clapping back to someone claiming I'm uncredible with their own words, which show them in their own logic to be uncredible.
The best part is, the game literally isn't even out. He's saying all this stuff and the game isn't even out. He has no idea how it's going to play.
The funny thing about this argument that fanboys always love to use to defend their favorite companies before their games come out is that it directly applies to them as well. And because of that tunnel vision, they never notice it. And it forms some of the most hilarious arguments possible, because in their own logic, they can't defend Starfield since they've never played it. If you don't think that from a gameplay reveal you can't have any idea how a game is going to play, you truly have no idea what you're talking about. A gameplay reveal is literally intended to show you how a game is going to play. That is its sole purpose, other than to sell you on the video game. And outside of this guy's terrible defense of Cheems and Bethesda, the reaction to my Starfield video was hilarious to say the very least. And I honestly can't help but love the comments these fanboys have posted on my video. video. Man, am I tired of this fucking 76 hate train joke bullshit that never ends. Bethesda is literally one of the greatest studios of all time. The main studio did not make 76 for God's sake. Not once did I ever expect to hear someone refer to the Fallout 76 quote-unquote hate train as joke bullshit. I don't think it's even remotely funny that tons of people got scammed out of their money because Bethesda chose to lie to their customers and release a completely unfinished product that was quite literally unplayable when it came out. Everybody's reaction to Fallout 76 was more than reasonable, and the hesitation to promote Starfield as this glorious next generation game is more than understandable, considering just how terrible Bethesda's track record has been for the past decade or so. The fact that people are offended at me simply telling people to not pre-order the game and wait until reviews come out from trusted individuals is something I'll never fail to be astounded by. It's like telling someone to avoid a dangerous situation in real life and then them getting offended over it because you merely told them to be cautious. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's still far from release, dude. Jump from your ego level to your IQ, please. Don't be a quantum and give dumb remarks on a game that still has like a year before it comes out. Me telling people to be cautious about a game because what Bethesda showed us was very highly scripted and still rough in what they showed, as well as completely misleading the majority of customers as to what Starfield is going to be via heavily manipulating their gameplay to look like a No Man's Sky trailer, is totally comparable to Quantum TV telling Elden Ring fans to kill themselves and the numerous homophobic and racist things he said. And no, all the things I talked about in my video cannot be fixed in under a year of game development. Things like adding seamless travel would take at least a couple months to do in and of itself, and fixing the UI would probably take around a month in and of itself, or at the very least a few weeks. And it's not as if I wasn't praising the game at all in my video either. There were significant portions dedicated to talking about what I liked in the showcase of Starfield, but obviously fanboys will be selectively offended at certain things and ignore everything else. I think your AI issues stem from them using test footage in their release. Even in their finished games, the lowest difficulty AI is aggressively bad in fights, while the higher difficulty combat AI is significantly better. No, it absolutely does not stem from that. Bethesda's AI across the board in all of their games is bad, more so when compared to any other AAA developer. And when you look at the AI in Fallout 76, then look at Starfield's AI, you're noticing a very similar pattern there. They act almost identical to how Fallout 76's AI works, aka in a barely functional degree, which is almost certainly purely down to the fact that Bethesda refuses to ditch their absolutely horrifically bad creation engine, and the supposed upgrade they're doing to it, the managed Starfield, has yet to be showcased, even though we're merely a year away from launch. Everything we've been shown so far about Starfield shows at the very least that Creation Engine 2 will share a significant portion of the issues as Creation Engine initially did. Dumb video, please do research before making anything, or just remake this video altogether. Well, fuck it boys, I've gotta pack up my shit and leave because someone called my video dumb. I truly don't know how I'll ever recover from such an epic roast, and my research is definitely subpar. It's totally not like if you did any research on Bethesda whatsoever, that you come across Todd Howard's numerous cases of lying about his video games and overhyping them to God's end. Bro, Xbox has 2 games and y'all get Ragnarok, Spider-Man, Wolverine and 30 other fucking games. Can we have one? Or can you at least not bait the morons? I'm not a PlayStation user. My PS4 has not been plugged in for at least 3 years at this point, my guy, and I have absolutely no interest in getting a PS5 considering all the anti-consumer bullshit that Sony has been pulling as of recently. I'm not going to give Bethesda a free pass on anything I'd criticize other studios for just because Xbox owns them now. That would be insanely disingenuous on my end and flat out hypocritical in every possible way. And I'm certainly not going to give Bethesda a free pass because you unironically believe in the meme that Xbox has no games. Damn, your take was so bad I had to unsubscribe. You keep saying they're desperately trying to look and market Starfield like No Man's Sky. No, they're not. They're marketing their game like all their other legendary single player RPGs such as Skyrim, Fallout Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Oblivion, Morrowind, etc., Starfield is not a space exploration game in the same vein as No Man's Sky. It's a sci-fi RPG where, yes, space exploration is a feature, but in which it is a feature that is used as a tool or mechanism to help you find out what Starfield is actually about.
Wow, that's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them.
I think we can all find it absolutely hilarious that this guy forgot to do the one thing he said straight away when commenting: unsubscribe, as shown by the fact that there's still a subscriber icon on his comment. Not that any YouTuber does actually care about a singular person unsubscribing. It doesn't remotely matter, mainly because this isn't an airport and you don't have to announce your departure. But also I find it hilarious how they say Starfield isn't like No Man's Sky because exploration in Starfield is used as a means to explore what Starfield is and what the universe has in store for you. You know, exactly like No Man's Sky's campaign. Like, exactly the same. The whole way you progress through the storyline in No Man's Sky is through exploring and eventually unlocking the Nexus, discovering the fact that the entire No Man's Sky universe is actually a simulation, through traveling to artifacts, getting your Atlas passes, and the list goes on. No Man's Sky's entire storyline revolves around exploring the universe, in the exact same way as they describe Starfield is apparently going to do it as well. So does that mean No Man's Sky doesn't have a main focus on exploration because it's merely a tool to tell its story? It is absolutely hilarious to me that this man described the entire plotline of No Man's Sky whilst using that to prove that Starfield isn't in the same vein as No Man's Sky. And if you thought the salt my takes produced was even remotely satisfying to your addiction, you are nowhere near prepared for the salt that Ohnoitsalexx's takes produced, because it gets so much better from here. And simply due to the fact that Alex didn't particularly like Starfield's reveal, you got eRockX, a channel who previously got into beef with Griffin Gaming after he claimed poor people shouldn't play video games because they're poor, and allegedly he threatened to show up at Kim Jong-un's house if he didn't get in a debate with him. Made a video coping and seething over Alex's take on Starfield through saying he needs to quit capping without facts, just in a more spicy manner that includes a very, very specific word I cannot say.
There's this guy named Ohnoitsalexx. He's a pretty famous YouTuber now, and he put up a tweet saying that most Xbox gamers didn't care about Bethesda until Xbox bought Bethesda. Well, let's see. I've got gameplay videos up on my channel, archive. You can always come to the eRockX channel. I've got gameplay up from 2017 of me playing Skyrim with special editions. It came out in 2017 with the mods. I've got nothing but gameplay up. But we can go back even further than that, dude. This is going back to Xbox 360.
I think it's absolutely safe to say that most Xbox fanboys did not give a single fuck about Bethesda before they were acquired by Xbox, mainly due to the fact that Bethesda for the past couple of years has had an insanely bad reputation, and most of the hype surrounding Bethesda's acquisition was the hope that Microsoft could potentially turn the company around from its direction at the time, because the news came after Fallout 76 had launched. At that point, most Bethesda fans themselves had given up on the company due to their just poor track record overall. And regardless of all of that, you've got to love the high quality editing from eRock here. I mean, nothing screams top of the range editing than an in-shot watermark. Like, come on, you can't beat that. And the I caught a white boy in a light text really does just add as a cherry on top to the insanely good editing.
So there it is, dude. This is from 2006, dog. This is Oblivion. Fucking Oblivion. Fucking Oblivion. This is Oblivion, right? This is Oblivion.
Nothing in this world screams I'm a Bethesda fan more than unlocking 9 out of 60 achievements for one of their games. But either way, what the fuck does this have to do with Starfield? And what does this have to do with being a fan of modern Bethesda? Because you can argue that Bethesda was once a great developer, but now they sure as hell are not. All of their modern games rely heavily on modders to fix them and to simply extend their longevity. You should also probably not be taking what Alex has said at face value, since it's incredibly likely he was being slightly hyperbolic. Obviously there are some Bethesda fans on Xbox. Not a single soul in this universe has ever denied that.
How you gonna tell us what we play, dude? Y'all just mad. All of y'all are just mad because Starfield is coming to Xbox and y'all can't play it.
Ah yes, me and Alex are definitely mad that we can't play Starfield, despite the fact we quite literally can play Starfield, since Xbox has been porting all of their exclusives to PC for over 5 years at this point. How are you going to be an Xbox gamer and not know this? Everybody knows Xbox has been doing that for years, and considering the fact that you called Ohnoitsalexx a pretty famous YouTuber now, I'd assume that you know he's a PC gamer and therefore can play Starfield. If you want to respond to people's takes and videos on the internet when it comes to Xbox and their exclusives, then at the very least have the bare minimum understanding of where those exclusives can be played or cannot be played. Now I personally cannot at all be asked to continue to respond to any Xbox or Bethesda / Starfield fanboys, because the amount of salt that's been in this video has started to dry my heart up, and we all know how bad the side effects of salt can be if you take too much of it. So with all that being said, please do not forget to do all the things YouTubers love to beg you to do, aka check out my Twitter, Discord, as well as like, comment and subscribe, so I'll see you all in the next video.